Welcome to this video. I want to talk about 5 signs a society is sliding towards collapse. I don't want to go too heavy with this because it is quite disturbing what's happening in the world at the moment. I want to talk about the macro effect that's happening in the world, but at the end of the video I want to talk about the micro effect, the cycles that are happening inside of you on a more deeper and spiritual level. So that's important. So let's jump into the slide presentation I'm going to do today. So 5 signs a society is sliding towards collapse. So patterns repeated across history. So we've seen this before. We've seen all of this happen before in the great civilizations and empires that have happened in the world before. So you get strain, you get questioning of legitimacy, you lack cohesion, you see shocks and awe happening all over, and the complexity gets more and more complex. We're talking about bureaucracy here and that kind of thing. It gets more and more complex, and you can't argue really that it isn't, because it is. If you look at the Magna Carta, and that was about 18 pages long, mainly about the king but also about the Bill of Rights for the UK or the English citizens, that went on to create the American Constitution, which is 4 pages, a lot simpler, a lot easier to understand, but there's a Bill of Rights there. There's a way that you can say, actually, you can't do this to me. In the UK, almost disappeared completely. So it's become so complex, it's ridiculous. So the 5 repeating drivers. What are the 5 repeating drivers for this? Environmental strain and climate volatility. We're coming to the end of a financial cycle. We're coming to the end of a climate cycle. This is all happening together. We're coming to the end of an astrological cycle, going from Pisces into Aquarius. These are cycles that are happening and coming to an end. So rising inequality and polarization. We're seeing the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, and most people are struggling for money at the moment. It's unbelievable. Polarization, you can't even talk about politics anymore to certain people because they explode when you say, well, that was a good thing done by them, and that was a good thing done by them, that was a bad thing done by them. And if it's their flag that they're standing under, they explode. So, well, you can't say that, blah, blah, blah. It's getting ridiculous. The polarization is becoming so unbearable, you can't speak to people about things anymore. Weakening institutions and legitimacy. So we are seeing weakening institutions. People are losing their faith in authorities, and they're not seeing it as legitimate anymore. We're seeing external shocks and disrupted trade and security of countries. Borders are open. They're getting flooded with immigrants. It's really quite disturbing to see, and we're getting diminishing returns to complexity, and there's mounting costs. So you're not getting so much back for what you actually put in. So let's look at the 5 signs. The first sign is food, water and energy become unstable. So frequent price spikes and shortages. We're seeing that now. It's slowly creeping in. Prices are going up. There's going to be shortages soon. But how much does it cost for like bags of shopping now? It's incredible. So water stress, we've got that with Thames Water now. We've got somebody making money in China for every glass of water that I pour out of my tap or have a shower like this family has. That's not right as far as I'm concerned. That is not right. That's not what I signed up for. What is going on? Water, food, heating, accommodation should be as cheap as possible because it's a human need. And we all have a divine right to be on this planet. It's a human need, and these are skyrocketing out of people's price range. It's ridiculous. You've got crop volatility because of the changing climate, also because of the monoculture we've done with our farming. We've destroyed a lot of the soil across the world. And when you look at how some, like Easter Island's a great example of like having really small amounts of soil, and how human beings creatively and passionately kept that soil healthy to grow the food that they could survive on that tiny little island. Incredible. What do? We're looking at making a maximum amount of profit for the minimum amount of effort on food, and it's destroying the soil. This is terrible. So we're getting crop volatility, we've got fragile infrastructure, everything feels shaky, doesn't feel solid anymore. Households are spending more just to survive. Our standard of living is dropping. Our children now are not going to have the lifestyle that their grandparents had. It's not going to happen unless things change. So sign 2 is inequality widens and trust fractures. So wealth concentrates is going up. COVID was a brilliant example of that, of the distribution of wealth going straight up and people getting poor underneath. So mobility stalls. We're not allowing our society to grow anymore. It's harder and harder to get a better standard of living. And we're also seeing rules for them and not for us. So the mindset spreads. This mindset is spreading. We're seeing that. A friend of mine at the garden centre, he works at the garden centre, he said he saw that on New Year's Eve, how there's a 2-tier police system. And it was somebody who came to their New Year's Eve party and he was causing problems, almost caused a fight in the New Year's Eve party, and he was bought a pizza by the police because where he came from. He was a migrant from one of the migrant hotels. He was bought a pizza and then sent back home. If that would have been him, my friend was saying, he would have been arrested and put in jail for that, for what this other guy did. This is 2 tiers. This is not right. What do we do with that? We need to sort all of this out. So cohesion is declining. So people are no longer trusting or talking to each other. And unrest is becoming normal. Seeing protests on the streets in London is becoming normal now. This is not right. Lots of people unhappy. So the sign 3 is institutions lose legitimacy. Corruption feels normalised. Courts, elections, media, policing lose trust. So in this country in particular, we're losing some of the elements of our trial by jury, because they're saying there's too many criminals. Why is there too many criminals? Because of the complexity of the society happening and people are unhappy and haven't got any money. Elections are being stopped in the UK. This is outrageous. This is a banana republic. I can't believe this is... I'm talking about my country. The media is lying to us on a constant basis about so many things. It's jaw-dropping. So compliance is starting to drop as well. People have stopped paying their TV license. They've stopped paying this, that and the other. So this is causing all sorts of issues in the background of our society. I don't want this to happen. Nobody wants this to happen, but it's getting overbearing. So the governance now is turning reactive. We've got these facial recognition vans going around the streets to stop the criminals. I don't agree with the facial recognition, but I do agree with stopping the criminals. And how do you do that? You become a just society again. This is getting outrageous because people just literally haven't got any money. So sign 4, elite conflict and political fragmentation. So factions fight for control of the state. So you've got the Fabian Society, you've got the Bullingdon Club, you've got the Bilderberg Group, and all these other different factions within these non-government organisations, all vying for position in our political world. This is crazy madness, insane. This shouldn't be happening, but it is, and we've allowed it to happen by just saying, oh well, our acquiescence to it is that they're so corrupted anyways, just let them get on with it. But they're getting on with it, and what they're doing is they're absolutely destroying this country. So short-term populism is on the rise because of that, and it replaces long-term planning. How can you be planning for something for the people who are actually running the country and the people above them who are running them when the people are being ignored? And that's happening, and this is terrible. So we're getting scapegoating, and political violence is starting to rise. Not good at all. We want peace. I want peace. You want peace. We all want peace. So sign 5, fiscal stress and debt traps. Tax base shrinks, so less money going to the government. Money could be easily sorted out, right? We've got the private central banking system that needs to end. If you were to tax each financial thing that was happening, like 0.1%, you'd take everybody out of cash. So every time somebody buys something or sells something, there's a financial transaction happening, you have 0.1% tax on that. That's how much money the financial institutions are making. You take everybody out of tax. It would pay for everything in this country for the people to live. Yet if you want to thrive and do lots of different things, you have to work, and you put value back into the society. So debt servicing is growing. Massive problem with credit cards in this country. Inflation, currency instability erodes savings. Your money's not getting as much as it used to. That happened mainly, really, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. And before that, let's call it $1. You buy say a beer, for instance, for $1. During a war or a crisis, it got up to $5, and it would drop back down to $1 because you're on a standard. We live on a fiat currency now, and he took the American dollar off the gold standard in 1970 to pay for the Vietnam War, so he could print more money, which the country didn't have. And now the country, America's in, I don't know what it was. I haven't looked at it for so long. It was last time I looked, it was about $13 trillion or something stupid like that, wasn't it? I don't know. I've lost interest in looking at the figures, but it's unstable, and we're eroding the value of our money. So investment and talent will start to leave, and they're leaving England in droves now. So capital flight, brain drain. You've got all this happening. The Rockefellers did this in Indonesia. Alan Pilger did a great documentary on that, how they did that. So go and check that out. Brilliant stuff. So how collapse cascades. One shock exposes hidden vulnerabilities. So we're seeing the vulnerabilities of our society now, how it's all being built up on bureaucracy. It's not good. You shouldn't be complex. You should be able to explain what you're doing in a very simple terms so that everybody can understand. And that's one of the reasons legalese was created, so that the poor commoners couldn't understand what the legal system was talking about. It's a fact. So feedback loops. So scarcity goes to unrest, goes to oppression, goes to more unrest. So we got these negative macro cycles that are happening. So recovery capacity is exhausted by repeated shocks. So history's lesson is usually a pile-up: environmental stress plus political instability, trade disruption, war, internal conflict, high complexity, declining returns, and rapid simplification. Simple early warning systems, if you're looking out for this, is prices, food, energy, housing, wages, it all goes up. Governance, service delivery, corruption signals, and trust is no longer there with the government. And cohesion, polarisation, political violence, and migration is used by governments to distract the people. So that's the slide presentation. What I want to talk about now is the macro. You, inside you. You're also running in cycles, and we are going through changes on the planet with our cycles, individual cycles. So really we need to be looking at what I call water up, fire down, which is the major practice in my Qigong. And we're looking at really getting the micro cycles in your body correct so that you can deal with all this and flow through this. We're coming into the age of Aquarius, so we need to flow through this. Nothing better prepares you for that than Qigong. I've been teaching this now for so many years, and it's time we all started to learn a mind, body, spirit practice for us to tune into our spirituality, to get that micro cycle correct, and that will stem out into your world to help other people see that as well. It's so important, and I've got something really great for you. You can practice this online, live classes online every week to give you time, so that you dedicate a time, either 1 or 2 classes a week, where you can really tune into your body and start to create the energy that's inside your body and get rid of all the old energy, all the preconceptions, everything that we've stuck on. We're stuck on this collapse. We're stuck on all these things that are dragging us down. We need to release ourselves from them so that we can become the human beings we came here to be. Really important. So Qigong, you can click the link, brightbeingsacademy.com, and you can join me on the live Qigong classes. I look forward to that. Just start to center yourself. Get into meditation, mindfulness, walking in nature, opening the joints up every day, opening the meridian lines of the body every day. The energy system of the body is so important. When you do that, you'll start to feel much better about yourself. So click the link, join us at the Bright Beings Academy, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Till then, be well and keep shining.